morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. We are back and better than ever, still playing Elephant from Dave's Faves, produced by the great Darby Foster. The Sine Function Part 2. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, so we already did some graphing. Let's do some more. Now we're going to talk about horizontal translations and vertical translations. Okay, so horizontal, we know this. We have x minus c. The minus c is subtracted from the x before we take the sign. It's a horizontal shift through c units. If it's outside of a parentheses, it's going to move the entire function, sine of x, up or down d units depending upon the sign, S-I-G-N, of d. And so you put those together, you can get a horizontal translation and a vertical translation. We have not talked about vectors, but all you need to know is the top component there is horizontal and the bottom is vertical, which should be sort of obvious. Okay, so let's do this. On the same set of axes, graph for zeros less than or equal to x less than or equal to 4 pi. Well, problem here is we're labeled to 2 pi, negative 2 pi to 2 pi, and it says graph from 0 to 4 pi. So when that happens, you might need to use a blank graph and do your own labels. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and do that from 0 to 4 pi. And so let's see, I'll make this right here pi. This will be 2 pi. This will be 3 pi. And this will be 4 pi. My amplitude, the coefficient is 1, so I'll just make this 1 right here and go down to negative 1. Okay, and I'm going to start with my basic sine curve, and I like to kind of do dotted lines. Now remember, here's 0 to 2 pi, so it's going to look like this. And if you remember the last video, this is going to look like when our scale was only to 2 pi on this particular set of axes, and we had a period of pi. Okay, so here is sine x from 0 to 4 pi. The cycle continues. Okay, so it looks like that. Then in pink, I'm going to take care of the minus 1. So this means minus 1, that's going to be a translation of 1 unit right. Okay, 1 unit to the right. Okay, so that means this entire graph is just going to shift to the right 1 unit. Well, let's think about that. What is, since we're in terms of pi here, where is 1? Well, this right here is pi over 2. So that means right here is pi over 4, and that's kind of our reference mark. Pi over 4 is approximately equal to 3/4, 3.14 over pi. So if you think of this as 3/4, then 1 unit is going to be about right there. So all of my points are going to shift this far, about that far. So I'm going to take that. This point I'm going to move to the right here. This point I'm going to move it here. This point I'm going to move it here. And this is a sketch, so we don't have to be all that accurate, but I think I'm doing pretty well here if you look. Okay, and this about here. This about here. And now I'm going out of my domain. Okay, very important. They only ask for 0 to 4 pi. So we can't go past this if we're getting credit. And so this is going to be the sine of x minus 1. The quantity x minus 1 in the pink here. And then this is a minimum and it starts going up, and then we have to stop it at 4 pi. Well, what about here? Well, the sine curve doesn't even go, it doesn't just go in the positive direction, it also goes in the negative direction. So I think if I think of this as pi, negative pi, and this is negative 2 pi, the pattern is still going to continue. I'm going to have a min down here, a 0, boom, boom. So this actually exists. We just don't graph it because so far we've been used to going to 0, right? And so if this is going to move 1 unit to the right, it's going to go about this far. And if you can imagine it, like boop, 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 so it's going to be coming up from here. It's a little off. Let me get rid of that. So I'll go down to here. Something like that. Starting to curve back. So it looks something like that. So there we have y equals sine of x minus 1, a translation 1 unit to the right. Well, what about part B from 0 to 4 pi? Again, have to do sine x, pi. Here's 2 pi, here's 3 pi, and here's 4 pi. We'll make this 1 again, and we'll make this 2. We'll make this -1, and we'll make this -2. So let's see, we're going to do y equals sine x and y equals sine x minus 1. That's actually a little bit easier. I think the vertical shifts are always easier. So quick sketch of our sine curve, and maybe you're to the point where you don't even need to do it. You can just see it. So here we go, sine x. Bam. So that's y equals sine x. And now all my points are going to move up 1. Let me just say again, amplitude is 1. The principal axis is the x-axis. It always has been with all of our graphs. That's about to change. And the period is 2. Oh, look at that. All right, so we're doing y equals sine x and sine x minus 1. I think vertical shifts are always easier because you're just moving up and down. So let's do a quick sine curve here. Boom, 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 boom. Remember, this is to 4 pi. So I have to do 2 periods or 2 cycles. Okay, and I'll just do this dotted. And you don't have to. If you want to make it solid, you can make it solid. No big deal. I just kind of like to do it dotted so I know what the final graph is. Quick review, amplitude of 1, period of 2 pi, the horizontal distance it takes, horizontal length it takes for 1 cycle to occur is the period. And then we have another period, another cycle, go again. So now with -1, we're just moving everything down 1. And before I do that, let me just say right now the principal axis for y equals sine x is y equals 0, or the x-axis. That's about to change because we're shifting everything down. So down 1, just all my main points that I've graphed. Down 1, down 1, down 1, down 1. Down 1, down 1. Let's see, down 1, down 1. Here we go again. I'm getting messed up because of the 2 units. Okay, here, 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 and then here. Okay, so nice little points to use there. Okay, all right. So there we have it. That is, we've just moved every critical point down 1, y equals sine of x minus 1. And let me just make a quick point here. My new principal axis has moved down 1. Remember before it was y equals 0, but everything shifted down. So my principal axis is now this guy right here. I'm going to purposely go long so I can label this as y equals -1. Same as your vertical shift. Very important, the principal axis has moved down. Now, that doesn't change the amplitude. The amplitude from the principal axis is the distance from it to the max, which is 1. The period is still 2 pi because that's still the horizontal distance it takes for it to go 1 cycle. Okay. And so I think I'm going to cut it. We have one more graph I want to show you, but that would take a little bit longer. So let's just check in, and we'll do a part 3. And until we see you again, I am out.